Hey there everyone, welcome back. I've been sitting here at home during lockdown and all of a sudden it struck me that I never got to discuss the macro environment with you. We talked about the micro environment, we talked about the market environment, but we never discussed the macro environment. So off we go. What is the macro environment? Well, to put it in a simple way, it's basically everything outside of the business that you cannot control, but it does have an influence on your business. There's a reason why it's called the macro environment, is because the macro environment itself is so big that or almost anything that's not in either the micro or market environment can fit into the macro environment. But let's look at some specific examples of the macro environment so that you can get a clearer picture of what we're talking about. The first example that I want to discuss with you is technology. Now, technology is something that's evolving at a massive rate, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do to stop that. Some of you might ask, why do we want to stop technology? Well, there can be various reasons for that. One being people or businesses not staying up to date as technology evolves. So eventually they fall behind and they lose customers in the process. Another reason can be that it's expensive. If you buy something today, in a year from now, there's a new technological model performing the same job and even more. So it can become quite expensive, but nonetheless, technology is there and it's there to make our lives easier. So it's also there to make your business perform better and to help it improve. All right, so the best that you can do is stay up to date to the best of your ability and embrace the opportunity of using technology to your advantage. All right, so the next one is what we call the economic environment. Now, the economic environment says it all. The name says it all. It's got to do with money. Here we look at interest rates. We look at exchange rates. We look at different currencies. Everything that's got to do with the economies of different countries, or just your country. If you're just doing your business inside the borders of our country, it's also important to know all the economic factors as far as your business is concerned. All right, then the next example is what we call the political environment. Now, politics, it's kind of difficult to split politics and business these days. But by the political environment, we mean mostly the political party in charge of a country, because they've got a big role to play in the success of a country's economy. You cannot get past that. You have to accept that it is what it is, and you have to adhere to their rules, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But basically they give the green light for certain things to go and others not to go. But you have to adhere to their rules and regulations. All right, so then the next one is what we call the social environment. Now, social, whenever we use the word social, we refer to the people. It can be the people of a specific town or city. It can be the people of a specific area. It can be the people of a specific country. But it will always have something to do with the people. Now, social factors can be stuff like employment rates or unemployment rates, for that matter, their levels of income, religion, race, gender. It can be based on a lot of different factors when it comes to different people, but it's something that you need to be ready for. Your business need to accept the social circumstances in which people live in a specific area, and your business need to adjust to that. Right, so the next one that we have is the environment or environmental issues. Now, when we talk about the environment, that includes pollution. It includes natural disasters. All of these things are mostly things that you cannot control. I mean, a natural disaster, how are you going to control that? This hurricanes that's been that struck Mozambique a few years ago. And there's no way that businesses could see that coming, or well, they could see it coming, but there's nothing that they could really do about that because it's nature. And well, they just had to start from scratch again after that. Right, and then the last one, or the second last one rather, is legal issues or legislation. Now, as I said earlier, the political party that's in charge of a country normally have their own laws that citizens need to abide by, and this is where the legislation environment come in. Now, there are different laws that came into effect after the 1994 elections when the ANC took over in South Africa, and well, some of them really did a good job. Others, some of you might feel they did not, but let's leave it there. Fact of the matter is, you as a business cannot go and change the law just because you don't like it. You have to settle, and you need to perform within that law to the best of your ability. And then the last one in the macro environment is the physical environment. The physical environment is what you physically see in your area where your business is performing. What does it look like? It can be a new development, it can be an old development or an old area. But you need to take that into consideration. I always say it's not going to help you much if you open a Ferrari dealership in a very, very poor and old neighborhood, because chances are that it might not be successful because it's in the wrong physical place. You need to move it, physically move that dealership to a modern area where modern people and people with the right income can support you and buy your product. All right, so I'm just going to quickly recap the factors of the elements of the macro environment. Let's start with the political environment. Then we have the economic environment, social environment, technological, legislative, and environmental. And then one extra one is the physical environment. Now, without the last one, without the physical one, if you put all those words in that order that I've just mentioned, you will get to what we call the pestle analysis. Pestle analysis goes hand in hand with the macro environment. Political, economic, social, technological, legal or legislation, and environmental issues. Altogether forms the pestle analysis. Right, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay safe until we see each other again. Cheers.